What's going on, fellow A-Plusers? Your boy Adam Perez is back, baby, once again with a brand new episode review as I'm set to go ahead and get into episode 4 of Ahsoka. That's right, our brand new episode we got this week, and just continuing to build and giving us one of the best episodes this season, if you ask me. I personally think I said that about episode 3 last week, but this time I really mean it. This episode was fantastic, had a little bit of everything in it, if you ask me, and to be perfectly honest with you, the moment this episode starts, the tonal shift compared to the other episodes to this one, you just felt like something ominous was about to happen. Like something bad was about to happen in this episode. And I was just digging the vibe all episode long, honestly. Like you can even see it from the facial expression of Ahsoka. She's deep in thought. The mind is probably cloudy right now. There is something dark and ominous headed their way, and you can tell all episode long. Ahsoka can even personally feel it herself. One of the reasons why she's probably poking and prodding at Sabine, asking her questions like, "Can I count on you?" sort of thing. Ahsoka, honestly, I honestly believe Ahsoka knows or knew that something was certainly coming. Maybe didn't know exactly, but I think she knew that something dark and ominous was certainly about to happen in this episode, and it did. The emotions were raw in here. The battles were intense. They were also very meaningful, important. They had some stakes tied to it as well. I honestly was kind of legit worried for some of these characters, wondering who was certainly going to make it out of here, if you will. But I thought just the vibe of this episode was absolutely incredible, in the ride that they certainly took you on. Like for me, the music definitely was amazing in here. I don't know if they had a brand new composer or if this is the same person that's been working for the entire season or not. But incredible music in this episode. I mean, it sounded like a Star Wars track. I can't really explain it. There's like, I put in my notes, hints of wonder and exploration, but also a sense of heaviness and dread at times. It was just very moving stuff at just the right moments, when to crescendo, when to go quiet. It just literally brought you into the episode, certainly that much more. And listen, I never really compliment or notice like the sounds. I don't know if that's like sound mixing or editing, just like the creative sounds that they kind of come up with, like even really stood out. Like I had my headphones in when I was watching it the second time on my cell phone, and like just some of the sounds that they create, like the force ability, especially for Shin when she uses it on Sabine. Go back and listen to how how they design the force sound for Shin. It's very different from how other people use the force, or the sound that the force makes when it's being utilized. Also, the hyperdrive, the big hyperdrive space ring, when they're activating it, like not only is it cool seeing like the lights glowing and stuff, but just listen to the sound as the hyperdrive certainly comes up. I mean, really incredible stuff in this episode, and I feel like they really did not miss whatsoever. There's maybe like one con, like maybe one miss, and I'll definitely get to it. But man, you want to talk about just bringing me on board, emotion, story, and musically, it all tied together perfectly and gave me a phenomenal episode, if you ask me. And listen, at the end of the day, these are just simply my A+ opinions. I always want to know your guys' thoughts, so let your thoughts be known about this episode in the live chat, in the comment section box below. I want to know your thoughts. I want to discuss this certainly with you guys. I'm actually even contemplating the idea of maybe even doing this live. Just because of my work schedule, I'm working in the office now Wednesdays and Thursdays. It makes it a little bit more difficult to do lives, unless you guys don't mind waiting a day or two and me dropping a live review in the evening, like around 7 o'clock Central Time or something like that, 8 o'clock. Let me know in the comment section box below, guys, because I would love to have a more live discussion with you guys. And just when it comes to the battles too, like really, really diving into sort of the inspirations that George Lucas took in regards to making Star Wars, right? Not just westerns, but like samurai films. And you definitely get samurai vibes in here. I mean, from the great sort of forest battle to the great battle between Balin and Ahsoka. Same thing with Shin as well as Sabine. Just really great stuff. I loved all of sort of like the poses, like the different stances, fighting stances, getting the opportunity to see really different lightsaber techniques, how well trained Ahsoka along with Balin certainly are in here. So Dave Filoni really just tapping into his bag and just making Star Wars feel like Star Wars. And look, a lot of people will probably say, look, this is the best thing Star Wars has created, yada yada yada. Look, I honestly think Star Wars TV has been incredible. I love The Mandalorian. I was a really big fan of Andor, and Ahsoka is doing its damn thing. They all have their own unique vibes, unique feels. Mandalorian's very much a Western. Andor's very much a spy espionage. And you got Ahsoka sort of as your classic sort of Star Wars. And guess what? They all fit beautifully in this world, but there's something fantastic about what Dave Filoni can do with these characters and the story and just bring it sort of back home for a lot of us. You know what I mean? So he's definitely the rightful heir for George Lucas. And I'm sure eventually at some point in time, he will be the head honcho over everything. But I'm absolutely loving watching his journey and the fact that he's getting to bring such a great and brilliant story to life here in Ahsoka. Man, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. But let's go ahead and get into sort of the nitty gritty of this episode, shall we? And look, it really comes down to the return of Hayden Christensen. That's right. Hayden Christensen back once again as Anakin Skywalker. Great reveal. I think probably some of us might have, I don't want to say expected to see him in here, but considering the fact that Hayden Christensen has been very active once again with Star Wars, I don't want to say it surprised me, but I'm glad that they pulled the trigger on reuniting these two again. But I will say, if there is one con I have about this particular episode, it is unfortunately this particular moment. Not because Hayden Christensen is back. I'm so glad to see this dude back. I'm not a fan of the de-aging. The de-aging just does not necessarily work for me. I don't know if it was the lighting in this particular scene. His face just looked too flawless. Like homeboy looked like he had gotten some Michael Jackson makeover sort of thing. I mean, I just did not like the look of him, how they de-aged him in here. I kind of appreciated his look in Obi-Wan Kenobi. I don't know if they utilized any de-aging in there, if it was just a great makeup job sort of thing. But the de-aging in this just did not work for me. So I will be interested to kind of see how it's utilized next week. Maybe it looks a little bit better. I didn't see it necessarily on the biggest television screen in the world, right? To kind of see the finer details. It just looked very just perfect. Just like he had kicked on a bunch of makeup or something like that. I don't really know how to explain it, but the de-aging was just off to me. Aside from that, though, fantastic moment and a great way to go ahead and end the episode, especially with the ominous sort of Darth Vader vibes at the end. I mean, look, what was the last time that these two saw each other? Their battle, the battle that those two characters had before Ezra wound up saving Ahsoka. So I am kind of curious what this is gonna be like, and the fact that also, if you guys don't know, was it GoFobo? I don't remember. GoFo.com? I don't even know what it's called. But they're actually doing episode 5 of Ahsoka in select theaters next week. I guess episode 5 is going to be pretty big and monumental for them to even put an episode of Ahsoka on a big screen. And with the return of Hayden Christensen, something big is about to go down here in episode 5, and it's also directed by Dave Filoni, so something to certainly look forward to. So I would definitely check it out. Special screenings for episode number 5 in your location or in your area. I think there might be only like 10 cities in the country that might be airing it. So if you are close to a downtown or a metroplex area, you might be in luck. I wind up picking up a ticket for Dallas next week, just in case if I can make it. I'm definitely certainly going to try, but I'm really looking forward to episode number 5, based off of how this particular episode wind up ending. But it does make me wonder, sort of like what their conversation is going to be about. And I would not be surprised if maybe a conversation about Sabine winds up coming up here. Also, the idea of Ahsoka, like what's going on with Ahsoka. Maybe she opens up a little bit more to Anakin. I am kind of curious how Anakin is there. Is he physically there? Like, was there a point in time in his life when he also discovered the world between worlds, and like this is a moment in his time? I know it's not time travel per se, but I guess I'm also trying to understand the world between worlds a little bit better. So I am trying to figure out clearly he's there at a particular point in time in his life. And so I am fascinated how these two are actually ending up meeting. Um, I'm also curious how she gets out of that particular situation, especially now that the hyperspace ring has gone off to another galaxy. I am curious if she will find a window to wherever Sabine and Balin and them have gone. Like, or is that going to be a moment in time that she sees sort of taking place, and will she then place herself there? So I am kind of curious to see how this is all going to bear itself out. But the fact that she finds herself there after falling off of a cliff, being kicked off of a cliff from Balin, or a big slashed off the cliff, if you will. The question about Sabine is a very fascinating one now, because it feels very much like she has sort of, I don't want to say accepted a brand new master, but the fact that we get somebody like Balin to be very persuasive, to have that silver tongue and use that sort of influence of the dark side, if you will, to really pull at those emotional strings of what Sabine is going through, to have her do it willingly. And I love the fact that he points that out. Like, I don't want to take it from you. Like, I literally want you to give it to me willingly. Like, do it. And I find that incredibly fascinating that Sabine does it, right? But if we look at the bigger picture here, Balin does give us another huge revelation in this episode, that her parents died on Mandalore. And so I'm assuming, if anything, during the Great Purge that we've seen so much about when it comes to the Mandalorian, because again, we have to remember these two shows are taking place simultaneously in the same timeline, or right parallel towards each other, if you will. So they're very much in that same time period. So the fact that they're bringing up Sabine's parents dying in Mandalore, I'm assuming is probably from the Great Purge. And that definitely explains a lot about Sabine, about why she was in the state of mind that she was in, right? I think one of the things we brought up when we did our review for episode 1 was she looks like she's carrying around a bunch of grief, And one of the things that we assumed is, look, it's got to be from Ezra, but that's just clearly only one of the things that she's been holding on to. And the other is the fact that her whole family's dead. She really does not have family per se to be there for her. And so the fact that your family has died, Ezra has died, you clearly trusted your master, and this is certainly something that happened, right? He says, because your master didn't let you, I believe. He says, where did I put that? He says, because your master didn't trust you. So it almost feels like Sabine had a plan to maybe save them, or was going to go and save them, and Sabine told her sort of no, right? It's almost very much like when I envision it, I think of like Yoda and Luke Skywalker, right? The idea that Luke has the vision of his friends dying, sort of thing, and Yoda doesn't want him to go, right? But he goes anyway. I almost feel like this is the case of Ahsoka tells her don't go, and she doesn't go, and her parents wind up dying, and maybe there's some resentment there, right? Maybe there's some idea that you didn't trust me, and maybe that's how Sabine has personally felt, and maybe ever since then it's kind of thrown a wedge between them, right? You told me to do something, Master, I listened to you, and my parents died, right? And maybe now she finds herself in that same predicament. Ahsoka asking her, "Can I count on you? Can I count on you? I want you to destroy this thing. If we can't get to find Ezra, nobody can. We have to lose our opportunity to get our friend back if it means saving the universe," right? So Ahsoka's asking you to trust her again in the sense of giving up sort of more family. And the last time that you did that, your family died, right? So now Sabine is finally stuck here with this decision when you got Balin in your ear, right? Getting into sort of the idea of not only the fear that Sabine has, but the sadness, right? That attachment, that connection to her family, right? That love that she certainly felt, right? That stuff still, attachment does lead to the dark side. Whether or not you believe like the Jedi teachings were true and that's what their failures were, yada yada yada, that's a baseline truth of one of the things that opens you up and makes you susceptible to turning to the dark side. So he's digging into that grief, man. He's digging into that the burden that she's certainly holding on to, the resentment that she has towards her master, to the point to where now she's like, look, I'm gonna do my own thing this time, and winds up giving it to him in an attempt to try and save Ezra. And yeah, man, it's I don't even I don't want to say that's like turning to the dark side shit, but that's gotta create a huge, bigger wedge between Ahsoka and Sabine now, doesn't it? Where do you think this puts their relationship at? Because I'm sure Ahsoka's gonna know Sabine wind up giving up the map. I'm curious what Sabine's plan is. Does she have a secret plan that we don't know? Or did she willingly give in? And I think she honestly willingly gave in. I think it brings me back to Huyang saying, the Jedi Council would never have picked her up or brought her in. Probably not. She's older. She's had attachments. She understands loss. And when you have people that are like that, I'm sure the resistance to the dark side is not as tight as you would want it to be for your apprentice. And so I do wonder if there's a sense of, I don't want to say seeing a little Anakin and Sabine, but it does make me beg the question. Sabine feels very much like an Anakin Skywalker kind of apprentice, right? So, and I say that in the sense of, again, older, the council wouldn't have taken him, and he understands loss. And so it feels very sort of master apprentice master. I don't know if that made any sense. Yeah, apprentice seeming like the master, right? The master and Anakin, apprentice Ahsoka, Ahsoka's apprentice Sabine is now sort of like acting like her master in the sense of their upbringing. So I mean, who knows? Maybe Anakin's got some words for Ahsoka and how to maybe train Sabine a little bit better. I don't know. I have no idea where their conversation is certainly going to go, but maybe there's some guilt that Ahsoka certainly has on her shoulders that she certainly needs to get out in order to be a better master and really reach out to Ahsoka, considering the fact that these two really are not on the same page, despite having an incredible battle sequence outside their ship together, working like a well-oiled machine. So yeah, man, I really enjoyed the stuff that we wind up having here. Ray Stevenson, you are missed, buddy. Like, honestly, Lord Balin is somebody that I honestly would love to see explored a little bit more. I need to know what his journey was like from that time from his Jedi Council to where he's at now. I absolutely, his presence on the screen is so incredibly captivating. It literally just pulls and sucks me in. And any word that comes out of Balin's mouth, I'm listening to. And Ray Stevenson's performance is honestly out of this world, man. So everybody is truly bringing it. They're definitely upping their game. And I cannot wait to see where this goes. But guys, I want to know from you, what do you guys think about the Ahsoka and Sabine situation? And look, I am definitely one that does not mind speaking his mind, but I also will eat crow and admit when I'm wrong and when my opinion certainly changes. And I'm not going to lie, Mary Elizabeth Winstead is growing on me as Hera. I feel like as the episodes go, the performances get better. Maybe it was the fact that we got to see her, um, you know, um, um, piloting the ghost in this episode that brought back some of that nostalgia memories from Rebels and stuff. Who knows? But I I'm really enjoying how she's falling into this role of general slash mother. um, it's cool seeing Jason as sort of the co-pilot, knowing some things, how to clearly man this ship sort of thing and help his mother out. Really cool vibes I get from seeing them both on the ship together. And the fact that she's got her own X-Wing squadron that works alongside of her. And it's a fan favorite in Captain Carson Teva that we all certainly know. So again, making the connective tissues, but also showcasing the New Republic world that Hera and the X-Wing pilots is certainly a part of. So I think it's really cool that she's got a little bit of her own squadron in here as well. So it is one of those things too where I don't know how they filmed this series, but I feel like when it comes to television series, you usually film sort of in order, right? From episodes 1 all the way through. And so for me, when I watch this, I feel like they're getting more and more comfortable in their roles as these characters. And I think for me, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, I feel like that's what's happening here. Or they're giving her the opportunity to do more in these past couple of episodes instead of just standing and talking, actually getting her to move around and pilot stuff, right? And command people sort of thing. I'm digging it. I'm digging it, man. I'm really liking her as this. I was kind of surprised when the hyperspace drive actually the ring took off. I was thinking of like a Last Jedi moment where it like split the freaking Star Destroyer or whatever in half, and we just had this huge moment. This still visually looked incredible, but they definitely dodged a bullet for sure, considering how close that big ass hyperspace ring certainly was to them. But visually incredible, man. And then leave it up to Dave Filoni to still give us. We've got so much emotional stuff going on between, Master and Apprentice. He still manages to give us some sort of space action, and it continue to makes it feel like Star Wars all around. And if I have the quick honorable mention anybody, give it up to Huyang in this episode, giving his best Floyd Mayweather impression here. I mean, homeboy put up a fight. You aren't gonna put Huyang down easily, and my man came through and alerting everybody to go ahead and save that ship. But it was pretty cool seeing him go literally toe to toe and be able to certainly defend himself as best as he possibly could. I mean, look, when you got to train young Jedi Padawans and younglings and things like that, you got to know a thing or two. And so I'm glad that Huyang came out swinging in this episode, literally. But yeah, guys, let me know your thoughts in regards to this episode. I don't really have too much negative to say besides the de-aging. This episode was stellar. But again, at the end of the day, these are just simply my A+ opinions. I want to know yours. Let your thoughts be known down below in the comment section box below, guys. And until then, do me a big favor. As always, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A+. May the force be with you. I'll talk to you later. Bye.